All right, good evening. Welcome to the Community Development Advisory Committee. It is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. Let's start things off with a call to order and attendance, and we'll start on my left.
John Brunsbach, mayoral appointee.
Mary Ann Callahan, mayoral appointee.
Marilyn Austin, 6th District.
Jordan Trice, 5th District.
Justin McGregor, Chair, 7th District. Stephen's here as well. All right, so we have the approval from the minutes from February 21st. Our last meeting was canceled due to access to chambers. So I need approval or a motion to accept the minutes if you all had the chance to go over those.
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried, minutes accepted. Thank you. It is not quite 6:30 yet. So we have 3 minutes to waste. All right. Sure. Go for it.
Hi, so this will probably be the third time this happens today, but I'll talk to the audience members as well. So this is the public hearing for the fiscal year 50 annual action plan and also technically the 2024 to 2029 consolidated plan, which is a 5-year plan. The point of this is A, it's required by HUD, but B, we do like hearing from the public and from stakeholders to know what they want or what needs they see in the city for use of HUD funds. HUD funds come to about 2.5 or 2.25 million, I think, in total funding from a variety of grants. All of them, almost all of them, require individuals to be lower income to receive access to it. And this can be services and capital projects. Capital projects can include things like helping people repair their homes, but also streets, parks improvements, those kinds of things. Service programs in the past we provided with CDBG program and also ESG program, which is money for specifically for the homeless. We've helped the YWCA Street Outreach Program. We've helped the Boys and Girls Club with their summer membership program. Those are kinds of programs we have funded in the past with the City of Binghamton funding. So the whole point of this meeting is just, hey, what do you want us to do? And that's kind of how it is. And so we welcome everyone when Justin calls it to give us their opinion.
Thank you, Stephen. 6:28 according to Mickey Mouse. You had one job, Stephen, and that was to talk for 2.5 minutes, and you gave us 62 seconds. All right. Anyway, we are waiting for Deborah Hogan, who will be sitting up there. She's one of our members. She has texted and said she is nearby, so I'm assuming that means she's here. In the interim, we have 20 seconds to spare. We're going to be calling the annual action consolidated plan public hearing to open. So those who would like to speak, maybe come. That's eerie. My phone is talking to me. Come to the front to begin the session. First speaker in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Oh, that one still says it's time. I like Mickey Mouse better. All right, so speaking, you're going to be limited to 5 minutes. Oh, you don't need that much time. Great, because it looks beautiful out there, that sun. that way.
Green, we can hear. We're good.
Is your green light on?
Correct. Yes, there is.
All right, the mic is directional, so talk straight into it and give us your name, your organization, or if you have one, and
Title.
tell us.
All right,
what
I'm
you do.
Brian Daniels. I'm from the YWCA.
Mhm.
I'm the compliance manager, senior case manager, and maintenance supervisor. I just wanted to come and say, thanks. I know we had the COC meeting this morning, and there's proposed funds for the 2 shelters and outreach that we have. And whatever funds are granted to our program, it would be greatly appreciated. It'll help a lot of individuals at the shelters and outreach. That's all I wanted to say is thank you for whatever funds is given to the program.
All right, thank you. Any questions for him? No? All right. Thank you for speaking, Ryan. Next up. Okay. Anybody else who'd like to speak to after him, just line up in the first row and we'll bring you up as time goes. Is the green light on? Give it a second, it'll turn green. There you go.
Oh, hi, my name is Eric Sampson. I'm a tenant at the Family Enrichment building. And I want to point out there's people, here in the Triple Cities and in Broome County who still don't have a home. And they still don't have a home because, student housing, took over the city of Binghamton. And then those who are looking for a home, they're either living in their tents or couch surfing or living in their car. And there's a lot of people, they're still homeless, right now, and they need a place to live. And more building and more apartments, need to be built or need to be fixed because, very often when you come across listing, all you see is student housing on slumlords.
Mhm. Do you have any suggestions on where you think that funding should go?
Well, it should go, not just the city of Binghamton, but also, Johnson City, and Endicott and Vestal as well.
Well, our funds here are particular to the city of Binghamton, so
Right.
that's all we can do, but I agree that it's a problem across the entire Triple Cities.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Well, before I moved into my current building, I had no home for over a month, and I was staying in a hotel, and the landlord, my ex-landlord, he threw me out, after lease was terminated, and made me spend $2,400 there. I sued him, over a year ago, and all I got is security deposit bank, but not the payments for the hotel.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much for speaking
You're welcome.
and bringing our attention to homelessness here in our city. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up. Give us your name, organization, if there is one, and your hometown.
So my name is George Holmesy, and I'm here to speak about the North of Main Inc., the LUMA Community Center, which has an application before the CDBG board. I'm on the board of the organization and have been with it from pretty much the beginning and have seen it's interesting. I talk to people about the tension that we have these meals, we have these events, these arts, these things that we try and work to build community. And we sit there on a Saturday and we feed 60 people and we give 80 people through Binghamton Food Rescue, fresh produce and things like that. And in one point, it's like, oh, I feel so good because so many people are here and doing this, taking advantage of what we're doing. It's like, this is success. And then I'm like, oh man, what a bummer, because these people are here because they need it. And we've just seen this growth in need. And part of it is, I think, a growth in need for things like the community center. And I'll talk a bit more about it in 1 second. But I think it's also because other services have shut down. We have a Saturday lunch And a church that used to provide a Saturday lunch closed or went to once a month because it was reliant on one person who I think passed away. So, but yeah. So
That
they
makes it
came to
hard.
us for most of the time. And we're happy to do that, but it's like this need just keeps growing and growing. And
Correct.
part of it is the growth in need and part of it is the reduction in services. So at, north of Main, Binghamton, at the NOMA Community Center at 30 Main Street, we provide, we do the things that help keep people alive, provide food, provide clothing. We have a clothing closet that is also part of our application. The other thing that we do is we're trying to do other projects that build community or help raise people up. So it's not just about keeping people alive, but it's about this idea of, can they work on their resume and make that work? Can artists, find a way to turn their craft, their hobby into something that might make some money for them? These are things that we're experimenting with. So there is both the keeping people alive aspect, which obviously is needed, but there's also this trying to raise up aspect. And that's what I think is really interesting about what we're trying to do. And we have a new location, it's a year or so now, at 30 Main Street. So we're in a prominent place. So where we used to, even though we're called north of Main, Binghamton, we actually help people from all across the city. It's easier for us to get to now, and it's a much more prominent location. So that's why I come to talk. I mean, and if you have any questions now or in the future, we're obviously happy to answer them and to, take you through, let you know the kinds of projects that we do.
George, just curious.
Yes.
You were talking about growth in the number of people you're feeding on your Saturdays. Do you have a number on that? What percentage of growth?
Percentage. Sorry. It's like 100% increase. When we moved to the new location, we probably had 30 or 40 people who would come, and that was steady. And now we're probably at 60 to 80 people who come. And they come for both things. They come for the meal, and at the meal they often get camaraderie too, which is important. I have to cook this Saturday. I have to remember that I'm doing this Saturday's meal. But there's also the Binghamton Food Rescue, which I think is really important too, which is unique among food pantry kind of places because it does fresh food. They give out food from that they collect from the farmer's market where people donate, where they're afraid of throwing the stuff out. They get it from local bakeries and local restaurants and things like that, and Weiss as well. Yep. And so they were able to bring them together, and often people will come for that, and it just fills up we have lots of lines. It's both exciting but sad.
Right. We'd hope that there wouldn't be that kind of need in our community, and it's the reality that there is.
There is, and I think it's many communities. I mean, I don't want to say this is just a Binghamton problem.
Oh, no, it's not.
But finding the money to solve the problem is something that is harder probably in this, in a small city.
Right.
So,
Well, thank you.
All
Any
right,
other questions for George?
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions? No? All right.
I'd like to make note that Deborah Hogan has joined us. Thank you, Deborah, for joining. Anybody else?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm Anna.
Deborah, can you hear her? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Correct me, I'm a very soft-spoken individual and I hate this exact situation that I'm in right now. I'm Anna. I'm a West Side resident in the 3rd District and also a board member on NOMA Community Center. Obviously, we have an application in, so I wanted to underscore everything that George Holmesy has just said before me, but also reiterate the fact that what we're doing is incredibly important, and that is only underscored by the fact that we have so many people coming to us every single week. One of the aspects that is important about what we are doing and need to keep doing is the consistency in the program that we are offering, because the people that we are serving don't always have access to resources that'll let them know about an immediate change. So if we cancel a Saturday meal, that's going to impact their entire day. That could be the only meal that they're going to be getting. So what we're doing needs to be supported. It's an essential aspect of making sure that our community is adequately served at this very baseline level. And again, what George was talking about in terms of our programs, some of our weekly programs beyond our Saturday meal and Binghamton Food Rescue include a clothing closet as well as a hygiene closet. You might have seen, I'm very tapped in, but you might have seen sort of a recent increase in need and including funding call outs for hygiene specific funds in our area because people need that. And pantries that serve things like hygiene products, you know, shampoos, sanitary wipes, toilet paper, even razors, just like baseline items that you and I might take for granted are something that people are very much lack and we very much need. And we offer on a weekly basis, which is not normal, I think, for a nonprofit, but is something that we've been able to maintain very proudly. And beyond that, we do serve youth. Youth is an area, actually, we're right across the street from Binghamton High School, which is a new change for us in our shift and location, which is also worth underscoring. And we're also right next to DSS. So we're very aptly poised to serve a lot of people with what we are doing. And I think our application reflects that. We're trying to adjust in our capacity. I think the application reflects that as well in a way that might be something that is kind of like maybe a question mark even for you all. Like, why are you asking for this amount? Because we are doing a lot and we need to be able to support the employees who are doing the thing that is serving so many people on a weekly basis. And beyond our recurring every single week programs, we add sort of these one-off or short-term stint programs to, again, as George had said, serve specific needs, focusing in on resumes, thinking about finances. We often become the place that other nonprofits or area partners approach because we have such a great relationship with people that they want to reach to host their programs. So we're just underscoring how essential sort of like a community staple can be in these areas. And we're already doing a lot of work that is necessary and want to be able to continue doing that work with that strange push-pull that George underscored, which is the sad that it needs to happen, but it also does need to happen. Thank you.
Any questions for Anna before she runs away? Yes, Deborah.
If you could please elaborate, what other funding do you currently have and what grants do you maybe have in process besides the CDBG funds?
Yeah, so currently, and George, if you're around too, we have grants and conversations in with the Conrad and Virginia Clee Foundation, Community Foundation, I think, what else? United Way, the youth, the Broome County Youth Bureau grants. We have our fingers in a lot of different areas. Our board is incredibly active. And since I joined and a number of other board members whose names you probably see on the application, we've been tackling and sort of changing our approach to how we source and approach grants in general. And it's really helped. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Anna. Next to the hot seat.
I'm Mary Webster. It's green.
It's green. Pull it right up to you. It's directional. So
All right. I'm Mary Webster. I live at 12 Edward Street within the NOMA area. And I have a long association with this organization going back to its roots in Safe Streets since 1994. But I've left it all to a younger generation and they're doing a fabulous job. I'm here tonight to sing their praises. NOMA is a relative newcomer to the nonprofit world, and it is more than worthy of your consideration. The success of their free Saturday lunch and the Binghamton food rescue distribution that follows as well as their clothes closet is ample proof that these popular programs need to be expanded. But NOMA wants to go beyond supplying these basic needs, as George was speaking, offering classes in financial education and internet technology, workshops in the arts, like the wearable art workshop, which is terrific, and open craft night, and the hugely popular Santa's workshop where kids can choose holiday gifts for their caregivers and get help wrapping them. I couldn't believe there were hundreds of people there. It was just so successful. It just made my heart sing to see it. CDB funding is an important resource for organizations in our area. I urge you to award the NOMA the financial support it both needs and deserves to continue and expand the excellent work it does in our community. And I also want to say that one thing they're terribly good at is bringing other partners in, like the symphony, and there was a group from the theatrical group that came and produced a play that was just delightful. You could almost say that the arts are essential to the kids particularly, but in people as they're one of the essential things. And so I want to thank you very much for your opportunity to speak before you, and thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have any questions for her? No? Thank you very much. Next up. Your name, location, or group, if you're involved with one.
My name is Bryce Reynolds. I am the treasurer for Safe Streets North of Main Community Center. I just wanted to follow up real quick with some data points regarding the Santa's Workshop event. The year before this year, we had about 100 people. I don't remember whether that included volunteers, but this year, over the course of about 3 or 4 hours, we had about 270 people come through the door. And that doesn't include about 30 volunteers. They were not all in the same room at the same time. So that's good. Also recently, a thing that we are growing, we're moving into the space of not just providing for basic needs or helping with basic needs. We're also moving towards bringing people in who want to contribute their passions to bring people kind of up and towards an escape velocity. One of the big things that I've been talking to a lot of people about is, youth, adolescence and whatnot, a lot of things at this economic level that they're not exposed to, that could be lucrative careers that they could find a passion in, and just bringing people in to introduce them to that. So one of the things we were recently contacted about was a group out of Ithaca. They were looking to do a music and technology workshop where essentially they use Python. They teach people the code in Python to create music out of samples. So it's like this kind of finding, people's interests and including like incorporating hard skills into that. Just put in the grant for that, I think a week ago, not included in the funding that we applied for here. Again, that's just operational. But this is one of those things that would be supported by that operational funding. I think that's pretty much all I got.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Bryce, thank you very much.
I'm free. Thank you.
Welcome. Name, group, hometown.
Yeah, hi, I'm Brian Donnelly. I'm with the Outreach Ministries of Southern Tier. We operate off of the what used to be the convent behind St. Cyril's over on Clinton Street. I just wanted to kind of bring you up to date on some of our things. I know some of you are familiar with us as far as what's going, but numbers are up as far as what we're feeding. The number of people that we're handing out food to has just about doubled in the last year. For instance, in February of this year,
I don't want to interrupt you, Brian, but can you move your mic down so that you're speaking as the light green?
I'm sorry.
There you go.
is
Thank
that
you.
Better?
Yep.
February of this year, we did 2,581 households. We handed out food for, compared to last year, we did 1,394 same month. That relates to, like, this year, we serviced over 12,000 individuals, because the number of individuals in the households last year was just over 6,000. Just to give you an idea, our numbers are up. The amount of food we get has been very consistent. However, it's not increased as much as that and like that. So we're in a situation where we're actually going out and purchasing a lot of food. So in addition to what we get from the bounty, we do get a nice load of food every day, but we're distributing over 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of food per day. We hand out food 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and so that's our situation as far as the food. The clothing bank that we run is basically in the same situation as far as the number of people requesting clothing. It's just, in that case, we do purchase some of the clothing. There's some essentials, basically underwear, socks, things like that you don't want to use used stuff. We do get a lot of donations for clothing, but we needed to buy jackets and stuff to get through the winter, and things like that. So that's where we're at as far as that. Also run the Showers of Hope, and which has been down. The shower itself needed some repairs. We just put $8,000 into repairing what needed to be done with the showers unit. And so we're going to be up and running with that very soon, as soon as the weather changes a little bit, so we can get in, make sure everything's running right. And we've got connections with ACBC and mental health and whatnot that want to bring some of their clients over for showers. And so we're looking at doing that operation. That's pretty much in a nutshell where we're at. I just wanted to thank everyone for support that we've gotten previously from the city. And that's it.
All right.
Any questions?
Any questions for Brian?
I have a quick question. How do people find you, and what is the eligibility determination process that you use?
Eligibility determination for?
Yeah, how do the people that you
for
help,
the people-
how do they find you, number one? And how do you determine?
A lot of them are referred from other agencies like ACBC or DSS and different mental health, and a lot of them, some of them actually come over and get food for their clients, as well as just recommend that they come over here. I got a phone call today from somebody that said, oh, somebody gave them the phone number and said this was the place, because they were in need of food. So I mean, it worked out that they got some food.
Any other questions for Brian?
No. No, and no, we don't take any vouchers. We trust that if they're going to be standing out there in the weather and whatnot to receive the food, they're going to be in need of food. I'm sure some people take advantage of it, but I can't see as that happens that often.
I must commend you. I live in the neighborhood, and I must commend you for the shelter. It's very sturdy.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was a big asset that was actually donated to us from up in Green. Raymond Foundation assisted us with that.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Deborah?
Yes, Mr. Conley, could you please describe how you started out? I believe it was at St. Patrick's and how you've outgrown and thus are at St. Cyril's now?
I mean, how the organization started, is that what you're looking for?
I'm familiar with your organization, but I'm not sure my fellow commissioners all are. I know it started at St. Patrick's, but you've outgrown that. And you're now at St. Cyril's.
Back in about 2015, we started at St. Patrick's. There was the idea of giving showers to actually homeless at the time, but actually any other less fortunate. There's a lot of inadequate housing and whatnot that don't have shower bathroom facilities proper. And so we bought a shower, operated that for a couple of years, finding out that being associated with the St. Patrick's Church, we needed to start our own foundation or our own program separate from the church. And that's where the outreach ministries came into place. From there, we all know what happened with COVID. We were asked by the food pantries and the food distributors to hand out food for individuals on a daily basis. So we said, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Figuring it was going to be a few months, and now we're a few years into it, and the numbers just tend to increase. We outgrew the location at St. Patrick's. We still do hand out some sandwiches and provide some food over at St. Patrick's. There's a few individuals that live right in that area that don't have access, or they don't have access to transportation and whatnot. So it's convenient for them to go there and get some stuff. That's maybe 5% or so of what we actually do. The rest of it's 95% of it's over at the St. Cyril's location. And like I just told you, our numbers just in the last 2 years, it's grown from handing out 20 or 30 at the beginning of COVID to 2,500. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no,
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Conley.
thank you.
Next. Hello.
My name is Amy Rice, and I'm the Executive Director of the Astor D. Rice Foundation. We're a newly established organization here in Binghamton. We've been operating for about 1.5 years now. And our mission is to enhance the lives of individuals and families, to add supports into neighborhoods where our underserved neighbors live, work, and play. We currently operate a few programs. We have our FACE program, which we operate out of East Middle School, and that stands for the Families Achieve Community Empowerment Program. We're so happy to be partnering with them. It's one of our larger programs, and what we do is we provide a 12-week program to East Middle School students, as well as a 10-week program to their parents. We've ran 2 sessions this school year, and we're hoping to be able to run additional sessions in the next school year. And the purpose of the program is to strengthen family bonds and strengthen communication within the family, as well as strengthen relationships with the school district and the community at large. Portions of our program that separate us from other programs is that we provide transportation to and from the program on our after-school days, as well as our family nights. We provide hot meals to our families when they come, as well as to-go plates when they leave. We also provide childcare to the younger siblings of the families that we serve. So we're trying to remove all barriers to service. We've noticed that these are the major barriers that cause individuals not to be able to participate in programming. We also partner with other organizations. We currently partner with Vines. We have our gardening club for our elementary school students, which we rent garden beds from Vines, and we bring the elementary students out to plant and grow their own vegetables and things. We're hoping to expand that program this year to where we can do grilling and all those type of things right there on site. We're going to be hosting that one at the Cunningham Garden this year. Last year, we operated on Pine Street, but we're moving over to the Cunningham Garden. And then another initiative that we've undertook in this past year and a half is that we do our annual community cleanup in Columbus Park, which we will be doing this coming May 4th. So we have a lot of different programs going on, but the main program that we're really seeking funding for at this time is our FACE program. We really see the positive impact it's having on our students, our families, as well as our schools.
It was Amy, right?
Yes, my name is Amy.
Amy, all right. I'm making notes, so I just wanted to make sure I had it correct. Any questions for Amy?
Just to clarify, the program that you're asking for is, what did you call it?
It's FACE. It's called Families Achieve Community Empowerment.
FACE. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Hello, welcome. Give us your name.
Hello, my name is Kahara. I'm a resident in Broome County. I came here today because there's so many things that can use just grant money for that can benefit people's lives to become self-sufficient, to end trauma, poverty, people getting off of welfare, and thriving to be self-sufficient on their own. I'm also a mother, so each person who came up, I came a little late, but each person that came up here are organizations that I utilize as a mother. My children attend the Oster D. Rice Foundation. It's more than just like the programs. There's so many different programs in Broome County, but it's not really common to see ones that are really impacting people so that they can change bad behaviors, things that they've encountered throughout their life through trauma. These foundations actually impact children to be exposed to like what it means to be part of community, what it means to be a good citizen. The Oster D. Rice Foundation, not only do they provide hot meals, that's an understatement because they actually have families sit together and bond one-on-one, which also incorporates like one-on-one time with children in a healthy aspect of for families who some don't even have dinner tables. So like if you take generations of trauma and you never expose them to a better quality of life, then you're never going to see poverty change, poor mentalities change. You will not see people getting off of welfare. You'll see mental health increase. You'll see drug addiction increase. So it's important to invest in just any program or anything that really gives not free handouts, but direct relief that can allow a person to feel empowered, allow a person to see that, wow, like this is not normal how I grew up maybe, you know? So like the Oster D. Rice Foundation, sitting together as a family, having one-on-one time as parents and mothers to talk about mental illness and understanding what trauma looks like and how can we incorporate that with when there's a huge lack of therapists in Broome County. The Oster D. Rice Foundation offers services that were so beautiful that I only experienced when I lived in Hawaii because they do direct relief with the people and they do it along with them so they can understand and see from a different perspective that, wow, it's not just one point of view that you're seeing maybe. It's scary to invest in something that you know will go to waste or to assume that people are a lost cause. People are not a lost cause. So these programs are important. The NOMA Community Center, they have a lot of programs that I utilize that help my mental health as a mother. They've helped me to thrive, to become confident again after leaving an abusive relationship. Just doing things that I enjoy again as a mother without having to not only pay for things that I would pay for, but when you are unable to do that, or if you're working and you're surviving, then it's important to still have goals and morals and standards for what you eat. It's important to have food pantries that don't have canned food and processed food. And if you have generations that are raised on processed food, you'll see behavioral issues, you'll see trauma, you'll see mental illness, you'll see children having families and children that you'll see adults with children-like mentalities because they never had proper resources, and the resources that were advertised had never got to them. And you will hear people say that, well, we offered it, but they never came. That's not the case. So it's important to invest in places like NOMA as well. Getting fresh in groceries. I'm huge on cooking fresh and organic. I love gardening. Housing Connections is another place you can invest in. They have I think it's maybe 8 garden beds. I was able to plant an entire garden with my children to the point where I was meal prepping healthy meals, not only for myself, for my children. I started my own business with just like not only teaching people how to eat healthy, but I saved so much money because when the summer comes, I don't have to buy tomatoes and herbs. And it was also therapeutic for me and my children. So it wasn't just like something that can come off as so simple or something that you may have grown up having in your backyard. That's also a privilege that some people have never experienced or seen in their families for at all or any generations. Or it's the elders too, whose voices are not heard, are the ones trying their best to survive with people going through trauma and poverty, raising their grandchildren inside of poverty-stricken neighborhoods. So it's important to invest in places that try to incorporate food pantries, not without thinking that you're giving someone a handout, but rather than like something that would uplift you, or if you never know someone's circumstances. And usually you can see the people who are who may seem like they don't care or seem like they're taking they do not need. It's very humiliating to be on welfare and degrading. And I don't think that anybody wants to go through that if they knew that there was another option to like help yourself and be self-sufficient with a little bit of help and guidance and monitoring where funds are going so that investors see, oh, wow, it's actually working. It may take a few years before you see, depending on each person's level of where they're at in life, but you will see a difference. I've seen it in Hawaii. They flip drug addiction, they flip poverty, they do parenting classes where they allow the parents to come in, even the most broken parents who are hard to deal with, just because they tackle like what they're going through and they work from there. So investors fly across the world to Hawaii to invest in programs because they see like how they're doing it. Housing Connection, which is from Family Enrichment. They offer parenting classes, they offer cooking classes, they teach gardening. They have a playground that needs to be updated into a more sturdy playground that incorporates STEM and Montessori. It's also secured. It needs to be more secured just so that the concerns of, oh, well, in that area, everyone destroys everything. That's not the case. You got to let people show you who they are sometimes and just go from there. And then there's always room for growth. From a child, from an adult to an elder, there's always room for growth and learning. So there needs to be new playgrounds. There needs to be playgrounds that are corporate, that are heavy duty, that will not be damaged. And there are moms in poverty-stricken areas that do care and do watch and monitor. The children in the inner city parts are just, they have no types of parks that incorporate Montessori or STEM. So they're bored and they're getting into trouble. So if you incorporate things that will keep their mind going in a healthy way, you're teaching them so they can maybe sometimes recognize if they're in families who are not doing those things, at least they will grow up and I don't want to be that way. They'll understand. So there's a lot of churches, there's food pantries, there's churches, there's people who are trying to help the community. I think it's important to not think of, oh no, we're giving people free things. I think it's important to invest in things that are going to be sufficient long-term. The goal is to get people off of welfare. The goal is to educate people, invest in training programs. I've utilized so many within 1 year and it helped me thrive so much. And I know one day I will get my doctorate's degree now because it's important to keep, sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, there's a lot, but yeah, you need to hear from someone who lives in the community that cares. Yeah.
Any questions for Kara?
Kara? Kara?
Kahara.
Kahara.
Yep.
That's what I thought. He said Kara. It's his
Yep.
fault.
It's okay.
Sorry. Kahara, that's a beautiful name. I've been on the CDAC for quite a number of years, and I have never heard a more uplifting, broad sweeping summary of what we try to do every time we look at our budgets for human services.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Agree.
you. Mhm.
Deborah?
I would also like to counter well-spoken. It's not only privilege for me growing up. It was 4-H that taught me the gardening, the home ec skills, but the public speaking. And someone in your generation, full assistance, helped you with that. The one that I think caught my attention that you were speaking about, I believe it was Family Enrichment Network playground. Is that within the bounds of the city of Binghamton or not?
Do you know Eric? I know. Virgil Street. Yes. And can I add really fast too that the children that I noticed that go into the playground that also do not live there, I see how their mental state changes just to be able to be like a child and play like in a healthy manner, where there's people who are there that are parents that may not be their parents, but they're not always destroying. Sometimes they're just playing, and we always correct them. Sometimes it's nice to just be able to witness children experiencing making healthy mistakes, but monitored, or being able to play where it's safe. And I know for a fact that when there's drug dealers and people who are predatory and just people who just make destroy communities, they are also looking at the people who are investing in the community. They can tell when, if police don't care about certain areas. They know what areas to go because they know no one will care. They know that I can speed to work through this neighborhood because there's no speed bumps and no one cares about this area. They know, oh, there's no stop signs, there's no cameras, there's no disciplinary action for bad behavior. So how can you expect children to practice safety if they're growing up taking risk from a young age because their neighborhood isn't kid friendly and there's no children at play signs, there's no proper stop lines? You're not going to understand rules from a young age because you grew up where there's nothing around you that incorporates like, hey, you won't get punished for speeding in this neighborhood. People know that. They know where to go. So that the people who are even bringing in the drugs know what area to go in. The people know where people don't care. But once you start changing neighborhoods, not only where it looks safe, you will see the mentality of children and people change. They're going to feel uncomfortable to do what's wrong. They're going to feel uncomfortable to be dangerous. They're gonna, if you see it's beautiful, and just let people have a chance to have something nice rather than thinking, oh, they're all gonna destroy it. If you walk through the bad areas, you'll see that there's some people who actually tried to landscape their little section in the worst areas. You'll see people who do recycle. I'm one of them. I don't believe in dumpsters and not recycling. I mean, it's important to have like trees and healthy water. One well can cost you what, like $6,000 per building, depending on the square footage of the building. Why can't we put a few wells so that the water is not adding to the behavioral issues of people, you know? Like, just like, people need to understand quality of life isn't about looks or what you have. It's also about like being healthy, and we got to teach the younger generation that and work from there so that everyone knows that standards are important for everyone. And that's how you end poverty and welfare. And people will start to be uncomfortable to be on welfare. But once they experience a better quality of life, they'll know that this was wrong and uncomfortable, and it's a blessing to be off of it. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Any
Any
other
questions?
questions? Sorry.
No?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
Very impassioned. We love it. Good evening,
Good evening. I think it was,
Makerspace.
yep, Makerspace. I think it was that Stephen let the cat out of the bag that this is mandatory, but I'd still like to thank the committee anyway for holding it.
It's not mandatory.
You didn't say it was mandatory that week?
No.
Okay. So my name is Stephen Mushak. I'm the Executive Director of Triple Cities Makerspace, and our organization has applied for this year's Community Block Grant. I believe there have been some changes in the committee, and it's been a while since last November when I presented our proposal. So I wanted to take this opportunity to once again tell the committee about the work we do and the support we're asking for. Triple Cities Makerspace is a 501c3 charitable organization. The Makerspace has facilities in downtown Binghamton, located next to Benedum's and across the street from Serafini's. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary serving the community last August. We have a dual mission. First, we go out into the community and promote STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math to children and to adults, and especially to inspire those looking to enter into the high-tech workforce. And with a little luck, this area will once again be known for that. The other half of our mission is to lower the cost barriers of entry to every kind of creative resource and tool you can imagine. We have a wood shop, metal shop, 3D printers, pottery, laser cutter, computer access, and so much more. In promoting our organizations, we say if we don't have it, you don't need it. And while we have gathered what I consider to be a wide-ranging and impressive amount of tools and technology and knowledge into a single location, the real value of the Makerspace is its membership. We have members from all walks of life with diverse backgrounds, from artists to engineers, members ranging from 5 years old to well into their 80s. Professionals in their field. One of our members has worked on nuclear reactors and with NASA putting things into space. We've assembled resources and great talent, and that was great, but we wanted to do more for our community, and that's where our programming comes in. We have an advanced manufacturing workforce development program underway that caters to distressed populations, including the unemployed, underemployed, marginalized communities, and veterans. This program is free, and we'd like to keep it that way. The goal is to have participants develop in-demand skills in our local advanced manufacturing industry and find gainful employment to combat generational poverty. Once participants complete the program, local manufacturers benefit by filling open positions with qualified candidates. The whole community benefits from this. We also have an Art for All program that has been proven to be every bit as popular as we anticipated, maybe more so. Art is known to have a therapeutic and cathartic effect on mental health. Through artistic and technology resources and programming, we provide a healthy outlet for vulnerable populations, such as those suffering from the mental and emotional stresses that the pandemic caused, special needs individuals and their families, and the community at large. The pandemic had an especially profound effect on those within the special needs community and their families. There was already limited socialization outlets for these families, and the pandemic only made that situation worse. Our programming embraces that community. There's so much more I'd like to say, but it's just not enough time in 5 minutes to do it. The bottom line is, even at $50 per month, where a person can join our organization and have 24-hour access to those resources, it's still too much for the most vulnerable in our community to participate in. One of the lowest membership rates for an organization like ours. Despite that, Broome County, Binghamton, and Census Tract 5 in particular, where the Makerspace is located, has increasing amounts of the population below the poverty line. Our block grant proposal tries to address this with our STEAM for All program. It subsidizes low-income individuals and their family memberships to provide access to all of our creative, educational, and networking resources. This is a lean and no-fat proposal. This funding offers a leg up to those individuals and supports the Makerspace operations. The Makerspace, in a lot of ways, realizes the goal of a diverse melting pot. Members exchange their knowledge, they collaborate, they share their experiences, and they help one another. As a result, the overall group benefits from the diversity. We have several members in our organization here tonight who thought it was important to come here and share how they have benefited from the program I'm talking about, their membership. Our organization, I can say, has benefited greatly from having them with us. So I invite you to stop by our organization and take a tour before you make your final decision. It makes all the difference. to see what we're actually doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question, but I took you up on that last year and I went through your place.
I remember.
And I believe that not every kid is college wise and they need to learn a trade if that's their skill. I think that's great what you do.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I would like to take you up on that tour offer. When are you available for the public to come in and check it out?
We have 2 nights that the public can get in there. One is a members night, Tuesday, 6 to 8. But we don't turn anybody away if they show up. And then Friday, 6 to 8. But also if you email us, we can give you a tour anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I can, my name is Andrew. My name is Andrew Sanders, and I'm one of the people who uses the makerspace. I was walking around, I was looking for a place where I could actually learn Premiere Pro. And I walked into this space, and not only do they have the program, but there's somebody who helps you with it. In a lot of neighborhoods, things that most of us take for granted, having an updated computer or being able to pay a monthly fee for Premiere Pro or Photoshop or any of those, we can walk into this space and we can work right there on those programs. They have an $8,000 embroidery machine that a young person can walk in and make a patch. They can start a small business and make patches for other people. This space is just a beautiful place for anybody, young or old, but also for the young people who are in the area who may be going to school, maybe they don't have access to a computer system like we have at this, at the space. They can just walk in and do beautiful things. So I just wanted to make that point to you guys that it's it's a wonderful community place.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions for Andrew? No? Thank you very much for your comments.
How y'all doing? I'm Isab Dohak. I live on Thorpe Street. I'm a part of NOMA area. Like Kahar, I'm very passionate about the entire community. Had a successful garden of vines on Oak Street as well. And I'm a part of the Fine Art Society at the Southern Tier. Is always a tongue twister. And just the community as well. I'm here to speak on behalf of the makerspace. This is new to me, so I'm definitely just absorbing it all. For me as an artist and an entrepreneur, the makerspace has been definitely helpful with the mentorship, collecting my thoughts, just communicating with the older guys that are there, bringing together my business plan, and just overall just making sense of what it is that I do. Because for an artist and trying to be an entrepreneur, a lot of times the business part gets away from you. So I've been able to, bring that together, a lot of it. I'm looking around even in here and I'm like, they have machines that literally can make everything in here, like literally. And I'm like, from the embroidery and just even with the 3D printers, and just as I'm listening to everybody talk, I'm like, wow, like all of these organizations could benefit. I don't want to say but I definitely get the most as of right now, from the makerspace personally. But NOMA, I do some volunteering as well with the food and things like that. So it kind of sucks for me to sit here and listen, and it feels like money is going to go either here or there. I don't know how it works. So it's just like, it kind of feels funny for me to just sit here and be a part of all of these organizations. And, however, that's my piece. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me, but thank you.
What are you doing at Makerspace? What's your business?
Like I said, I'm an artist. I do a little bit of everything, graphic. I have full, like he said earlier, I have full access to Canva, Pro. I paint hats. It's just a space to even just bring my stuff there. Sometimes, when you live in a community like ours, you don't have a gallery or you don't have
Right.
a studio. So I got tables and things that I'm working on that I just was able to just leave there. Something like that. And then, like I said, also I have a business plan I don't want to get too into as of right now, but like they've been very, very hands-on with me, bringing it together and pointing me in the right direction of who I could talk to and just ideas and where I could look
Right.
in terms of learning things myself and, bringing it all together. So,
Well, we wish you good luck on that.
yeah, hopefully you
Yes.
see me again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, I'm Nate Hotchkiss. I live and work in Binghamton. I'm on city council and I represent District 4. My main two things that I talk about are housing and youth services and youth programming. And I think that's what I wanted to focus on in getting elected. But I think you guys have a really difficult job here because there's a lot of really amazing programs and organizations that have presented tonight and that are in the community. And I know you're all well aware of the immense need that we have here. So I don't envy your decision-making process in all of this. I will say that I'm committed to working with you guys and to taking very seriously the proposal that you guys put together because I know it's a lot of work and I don't envy all the effort that you're going to have to put into picking and choosing between who is doing the most good in the community and what's needed. Anything that has to do with supporting housing is extremely important, and I think youth services it's lacking in the community. So I emphasize those, but I also want to voice some support for the Triple Cities Makerspace. I think they have amazing resources there in terms of what they're doing for workforce development, but what there is for like entrepreneurs. I wasn't even thinking about this, but there's actually I worked at a place that had started their business operations in Triple Cities Makerspace. He was using the laser cutter there to cut like wooden jewelry, and he would sell that. That's how he started his business, but then moved on into like the embroidery space and so on and so forth into different like merchandise, but like that grew into a business that employed me. And so I just want to say that's what can happen at the makerspace, and it's really like a impressive resource, and I think it deserves a lot of support.
And it's in your district.
And it's in my district, yeah. So there's that. There's a lot of organizations that are in my district. So, the last thing is just like an overall theme that I'm kind of critical of with the CDBG money is that when it goes to support different departments in city government, I think personally, I believe that this money should go to community organizations and not to support little gaps in funding in our city budget. So that's just how I think about it. Yeah, and we should just work that out in the budget and not have to dip into the CDBG.
Any questions for Nate? Seeing that? No. Thank you very much. Any other speakers? Come on up. Make sure your green light is on. Your microphone is directional, so make sure Yep. And once it's green, let it go.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm Jessie Stonehey. I'm the Director of Action for Older Persons, and I don't recognize everyone in the room, so I'm going to give the really quick little spiel about what I'm talking about. We are the only nonprofit that's specifically focused on our aging population in the community, which I think is an important thing to think about, as considering we have an aging demographic, so our services are really vitally needed. And there are other organizations when I'm writing a grant application, there isn't a competing type of organization. We're it. The program that we are most known for in the community is our Medicare counseling program. It serves about 2,500 people a year. Last year, we provided 495 counseling appointments to City of Binghamton residents, and we saved them. So here's the important part about Medicare counseling. When you get good counseling, you often get better health insurance and you spend less money on it. So we saved City of Binghamton residents $750,000 last year. So, I mean, it's a huge savings. And what that means is people have money in their pockets to take care of their health. So they go to the doctor, they take their medications. We receive a lot of funding from the United Way. And the reason we get that funding in large part is we prevent unnecessary hospitalizations. That is one of the key indicators of health in a community. So this is a vital program to keep people healthy. And just so you understand that this is a program that has a very big multiplier effect. So for every dollar we got from this funding pool last year, it was 50 times that in savings that individuals received. So it has a huge impact. And the support we received through this funding has been absolutely vital. So I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Hi. I'd like to hear more about your outreach efforts and how you get the word out to the community.
Sure. I will be very honest with you. We don't do nearly as much outreach as we want to do, and that's because we always have a wait list. Always. But we did a lot of outreach through other nonprofits last year. So one of our big partners is Meals on Wheels. And that was because there was an expansion last year of what's called the Medicare Savings Program. And to make the world even more confusing, while it's called the Medicare Savings Program, because you are generally 65 years old to qualify for it, it's actually a Medicaid program. So for individuals that qualified for that, it was about $7,100 of savings that they received. Because that program expanded last year, and it expanded because it's called the pandemic. Remember how everyone kept their benefits for their Medicaid through the pandemic, whatever benefits they had, that ended, and people have been transitioning back on, they've been all being recertified or they've been qualifying for new programs. So many of them qualified for the Medicare Savings Program. So we did a lot of outreach specifically through those. So we're out at the senior centers, we're out at SEP housing, we're getting out, we're using Meals on Wheels. And we send out information and offers to present at all the religious organizations throughout the county.
And one of the reasons I asked that, and for the benefit of my colleagues, is following a presentation that you made here. You know, my own parents were in a transition from retirement, and I sent them to you, and they had glowing reviews about your organization. So they really do good work.
That's wonderful.
Her presentation last year was fantastic.
And now, to show that I am old enough to be his mother, I want you to know that not only do you do a great job, but I called about something. I don't even remember what it was. And the woman that I talked to was able to look up a conversation I had had with one of your staffers, and I think a volunteer, a year ago, and told me what we talked about, which was so impressive.
So I'll just tell you a little bit about what makes us unique, because every county has this type of program. We are initially funded by the county. New York state dollars goes to each county to run the program. We are a little different. We serve far more people in this county than almost any other county in the state for the size of their county. And that's because we've got about 20 volunteers, but we also have some infrastructure things that we've developed in-house that most other areas don't. And that's one of the pieces that you're talking about. We collect everyone's information, and then we're really smart because we have a programmer who is on our staff, who this is her sort of retirement job, who used to work at IBM. And she set us a really smart system that allows us to port all the information over from year to year for counseling, which our counselors, I'm so glad to hear you appreciate that, but our counselors appreciate it so much because they want to give you better and better advice each year. Because when I have volunteers counseling, they know how important someone's health insurance is. They take a lot of responsibility for doing as good a job giving that information. So when they have notes and they can start out that conversation, they can have that much more of an effective conversation with you, and make you much more confident that you're going to get into the
That's
right
true.
health insurance program.
The other thing, I called the first week in October and I didn't get an appointment until the end of November.
Yeah.
You are so booked.
We are booked. We are really, really, really booked.
And that's the reason why.
Yeah, and our staff does a tremendous job of trying to accommodate as many people as we can, but there's definitely we sometimes have to triage people because if somebody's going to qualify, so you're talking about during the open enrollment period, and we serve about a third of individuals during that open enrollment period. And our staff and our volunteers just work appointment after appointment after appointment. But for someone who will qualify, for example, like Medicare Savings Program, it opens up a new enrollment period for them so they can be enrolled at any time during the year. So during that last quarter, we might not see them, but we can get them in right at the start of the year or at any other point so that they can start getting those savings benefits. So that whole outreach piece happens at that other time in the year.
Very good. Oh, Deborah?
I'll just be your third testimony. I sent my veteran your way for the Medicare Savings Program. You did wonders and I really appreciate it and it's helped and he's just so incredibly thankful. I've known you since Colonial Plaza back. It did an internship and what you do is phenomenal. So again, just thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's really important for me to say, because you're all saying like, I did something. I don't. I hire good people and we recruit amazing volunteers. I'm just the one that gets to talk to you about what they do.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Grasso. I'm the executive director of Roberson Museum. Jessie is a hard act to follow, but I will take credit for being her friend, which is the only way in which I can help with what she does. Roberson is obviously not a human services organization. We have also not applied for funding for this period, but I did want to say thank you for the previous funding we've received. Because of Roberson's location, we are often a thoroughfare for a lot of pedestrians. There's a set of stairs that comes down from the bridge, and the CDBG money has helped us with some safety and security upgrades over the years. So I wanted to say thank you for that. I also want to mention that even though we are not as a human services organization, we try not to be not in my backyard people, and we feel that the health and safety of the community is everybody's job. So I'm here just to sort of elevate that. And pardon me while I check my notes. Oh, Madam Vice Chair, you asked Brian Donnelly where he gets referrals from. The museum is one of the organizations. We send people over that way all the time because we have a lot of traffic that comes through our parking lot. And I would like to make one pitch that is just based on observation for the city broadly. There's a desperate need for public restrooms. Roberson is open to the public, and we do not deny people the use of our restrooms because it is human dignity that they are allowed to use a restroom. We will always allow that as long as I am there, but I would like for the city to consider that there is a need in this community for restrooms that are open 24 hours a day, and there are plenty of European cities who have figured out how to make this work. So that is my pitch to you. That is not my job. But should be somebody's.
Thank you. Any questions for Mike?
Just one thing. Can you say hi to Alonzo's ghost for us?
Yes, I say goodnight to him every evening, and I will make sure that he gets a special one.
That was an awesome program. Thank you.
We can thank WSKG for that.
Very good. Thank you. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Ephraim Rosario. I work with the YWCA. I'm a street outreach coordinator and housing advocate. First, I want to say thank you very much for having this today. I've learned so much, and I definitely do, so even though I work for the YWCA, I do support St. Cyril's, what used to be St. Pat's, Noma, and the other ones that came up. I'm very interested in getting to get to know them for what's going on with there. And I want to say thank you very much for all you've done for the YWCA and the whole Binghamton community with helping us and assisting us with getting food, helping us with transportation, being able to get things like gentleman said about getting like underwears, socks, things, the underwear garments that assist with the things that people don't give to get, would not want to use a used one. But so again, because of your help and the assistance that you're allowing us to get in the community, I've also used to live in the Volunteers of America when I was homeless, and the Vines was definitely helping me out one time when I was going out there and getting my own vegetables for dinner. So that definitely was a fantastic thing. So I definitely support that again with Noma and the foundation inside the East Middle School as well. But again, thank you very much for all that you've helped us with and all. And I hope that we can all work together even further. More. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Ethan? Deborah?
Going back, I just have questions and concerns regarding the tenting program. Is that still going on, and how are you addressing that?
That's last option. Because what we try to do is make sure that the individuals are either getting housed at our women's facility or being placed in the men's facility or being placed in a hotel, or we're asking assistance from other agencies like Catholic Charities or ACBC to assist us, or even some churches, before we even think about talking about a tent. That's more like a last resort. And sometimes we'll even, once in a while, we'll run into an individual that let us know that, hey, if somebody wants to sleep in our garage, or if they have an extra room, we'll let the individual know there is somebody. But that's on a rare occasion. That's like a last resort kind of thing. Really, really last. We don't want to have somebody outside, though there are individuals that choose to be outside, though there are individuals that are banned from some locations that they are not able to go, or there are some individuals that will refuse going into a shelter setting, and some refuse to go to a hotel. But that's more like a last resort. We definitely try as best as we can to get them inside with a roof over their head, like 42 Shenango. If there's sometimes 42 Shenango, Monday through Friday, or Sunday night, I should say, until Friday morning, helps out with those individuals who don't have any financial assistance, to be able to be put into a hotel, whether it's from DSS No Financial or their own income alone, if they have any. But yeah, that's more like a last resort that we have.
Okay, thank you very much. I just needed to clarify because I'm just very uncomfortable with that. So,
Same
but
with
thank
me.
you.
Any other questions for Ethan?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Going once? Going twice? That concludes our. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Thank you. We have to have a motion to close and vote on closing the public hearing.
Motion to close?
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is 7:44. That's a 7:43. We started at 6:30. 6:19. All right, now we have a presentation from the Good Neighbors. Come on down. Hello.
All right, it's green. Am I good?
You just
you
pull
hear
it
me?
forward. It's directional.
All right. Hi, I'm gonna just read this. I know
Deborah,
I,
can you hear her? Sorry.
okay, I'll try
There
to
you
get,
go.
is that better? Okay. Did this go out to everybody or no? Just the one I emailed you? Yeah. No, okay, that's all right. It's no big deal. I'll just read it.
I think he has problems with his emails today because he didn't get mine either.
That's okay. Okay, my name is Krista Callis. I'm the programs director for Good Neighbors New York. Thank you for allowing me to come back again and do this. I wanted to start with a message from one of our partners, ACBC, Broome County, and the Up Comfort Center. Krista, I want to express how grateful ACBC is for our partnership. The Up Comfort Center is a program of the Addiction Center of Broome County and opened our doors to the community in April 27, 2023. The Up Comfort Center is a 42-bed emergency overnight shelter housing the community's most vulnerable adults from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Every morning and evening, we serve a warm meal. The food we receive from Good Neighbors allows us to make over 450 meals each week. Meeting you has literally changed the trajectory of our program. We save thousands of dollars because of your generous donations. This savings allows us to focus our funding on providing the much-needed services our guests truly need. Further, the Good Neighbors provides food to our food pantry located at 457 State Street, Binghamton, serving the community members living in that area. The relationship we formed is priceless, and I know that all of us at ACBC are grateful for the support you provide not only to us, but our clients, guests, and community members. Thank you for your unconditional giving. The impact you have made in Broome County is beyond measure. Jeff Pryor. This is one example of our many partnerships in the city of Binghamton and Broome County, and one of the many ways Good Neighbors benefits the community. I'd like to give you a little background on how Good Neighbors was founded and started in Broome County. Good Neighbors started in early 2020 by Heather and Tim Brook in Clearwater, Florida. They noticed an increase in retailers throwing away perfectly good food. Shortly after starting Food Rescue, COVID hit, and that's when there was a huge increase in waste, as well as lack of nonprofits willing to pick up food donations. As the food insecurity rose, we envision a strong community of relationships where everyone has access to food and other necessities of daily living. Good Neighbors started with just a handful of food retailers donating food and operating from a driveway to nearly 1,500 pickups each month and feeding well over 50,000 residents in Pinellas County monthly. With a mission to build relationships with organizations and individuals to connect food and other necessities to those in need. I'm sure you're questioning how this nonprofit in Florida has anything to do with New York, and how did Good Neighbors start in our area? So Heather is not only the founder, she's the executive director and my sister and a Broome County native. When Heather started this endeavor, this was all she would talk about. One day, when talking about a new organization she partnered with, she caught my attention. Her new partnership was with an organization called Feeding the Fosters. I asked her again, I'm like, what is this organization and what do they do? She explained that they make meals for foster homes to take the burden off foster parents once a week. I had that aha moment. I said, wait, I'm a foster parent. Can I do this? Can I collect food from retailers and give it to foster homes? The answer was yes. In fall of 2021, Heather was in New York and we approached our first local retailer and they said yes. We started with a local bagel shop, picking up bagels 2 days a week. Now New York has over 50 pickups per week from various food retailers, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, feeding over 2,500 residents weekly and providing more than 170,000 meals annually, and the number is continuing to grow. We are currently partnered with over 80 organizations in the Binghamton area in which we either give food to or receive food from. This is keeping thousands of pounds of food out of the landfill and assisting the community with the growing food insecurity issue in our area. With only one other local organization in the area that is providing food rescue and food being available 7 days a week, the work we do is vital to the community. Along with Food Rescue, Good Neighbors also has several programs in place, including our Food with Dignity program, providing food to unhoused and those in temporary housing arrangements, nourishing our neighborhoods by providing food for community and public giveaways, including senior housing, smaller food pantries, and low-income neighborhoods, and our Blessing Box program that provides accessible food 24/7 around the county. At this point, Good Neighbors is becoming bigger and bigger with more partnerships in New York. The next steps are to secure a vehicle for the ability to pick up more food from retailers, also a larger, more convenient location for food storage and workspace. As Good Neighbors operates independently of other large membership organizations, we seek the community to continue our work. We seek support from the community to continue our work to help those underserved in Broome County. The support we seek helps maintain our policy to never charge our food recipients or partner agencies for any of the food we provide. We hope that you see the value and impact Good Neighbors brings to the Binghamton area, and we hope we can partner in the future. Questions?
That is impressive growth fast.
Yes, it has grown very fast. It has. It started, and when I talked about like I am a foster parent, and when I very first started, I reached out to all the foster homes that I know and told them what I was doing and asked who wanted food, and nobody wanted food. So it went from, okay, now what do we do with it? Now that I keep getting it, we have to take it someplace. So it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And we have great volunteers that do help. And yeah, it's gotten very large. Does anyone have any questions at all? No? No?
Any questions? Deborah?
I'm not familiar with your program and I would like to be. I was a bit confused and it may have been because of the volume, but where are you located? And what does the 23 beds have to do with your food outreach program? I apologize. I was just confused.
That's okay. That's okay. There's a church in Vestal, Memorial Park Baptist Church gives us a space, is where we have our food storage and our facility. So we don't have a pantry or anything like that. That's just where we store our food to distribute it. That's at 1013 Front Street in Vestal. And the Comfort Center, that's just an email from one of our partners. That's the Up Comfort Center through ACBC. That was just one of our partners that wrote an email to us.
What my concern is, because our recommendations are for the city of Binghamton. Although you appear to be located in Vestal, it sounds like you're serving our residents.
Yes.
And how does that happen? Is that at the addiction center? Is that where?
Yeah, so that's just one of our partners. So we provide food to multiple places in the city of Binghamton, along with having partnerships where we receive food from places in the city of Binghamton as well. Okay.
What, oh, sorry. What percentage of your clients or those that you donate to are in the city of Binghamton? Do you know offhand?
I don't know off the top of my head. I could get that for you as well.
Sure.
A lot of the places that we do serve are seniors, a lot of like SEP housing, Metro Interfaith, places like that. We serve in the city of Binghamton, as well as the YMCA and like that. So I could get that for you if you wanted that information.
Sure, if you could email that to Steve and then he'll distribute it to all of us.
Yeah, got it.
I know I could speak firsthand. I'm one of the volunteers and I have a table on my street, on Mary Street, every Sunday. So I know my table alone probably helps a good 30 to 40 people every week. 30 to 40 families, not people, but families.
Very good.
Yes. And one of our partners was NOMA as well. With Binghamton Food Rescue, when they receive their food, they receive it from us as well. So.
Thank you very much. Any other questions for him? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm getting old. I need my glasses. Continuing care, ESG budget recommendations. Oh, you're doing that? Okay, great. Fantastic. Stephen, the floor is yours.
So I am presenting the continuum of care recommendations for ESG funding for the next funding cycle. The review occurred on January 6th. It included members of 3 agencies that are not applying for any ESG funds or CDBG funds for that matter. Catholic Charities of Chenango, Chenango Health Network, and Catholic Charities of Tompkins, Tioga. They volunteered to review the applications, and then once they made their recommendations, it went to COC today for final approval. So this has been approved by the COC body itself. So we don't have final numbers yet on ESG or any of the HUD funding yet. So just because of the nature of it, we have to kind of do it this way. So we used last year's numbers. So you have two boxes there. I tried to make it as simple as possible. There's two pools of money with ESG. One is all the money you can spend on emergency shelter and street outreach. The other one is all the money you spend on things like HMIS, rapid rehousing, homelessness prevention. Now, the emergency shelter street outreach is capped at 60% of your ESG budget. So that meant that for the amount that we got last year, there was a maximum amount of $97,200 that could be spent on any combination of emergency shelter and street outreach. So the top box represents that. They did push it to the max of the cap, which if you've heard me say before, I'm never a big fan of pushing the max every time, but here it is. And essentially, to cut it down to the quick, they approved funding the salary lines. So if you look at these applications in your packets, you'll see for these specific projects that there's a salary line in there. And so that's what they're recommending. And then they basically, I think, did a straight percentage of their salaries down the line for the total to be 97.2. So they don't think they favored any one agency over the other. On the side, there's some general notes. They were not comfortable, or they were not as happy that Catholic Charities TTLP program does few clients for the amount of money they do. The reason for that is TTLP is called transitional housing, which is long-term housing. Think of it like a restaurant. In a restaurant, which would be represented in emergency shelter, there's turnover essentially every 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, because there's a maximum amount of time they can stay there. Now, TTLP turns over approximately every 18 months, I think. So think of it as like a restaurant with a high turnover versus a restaurant with a slow turnover. So that's the reason why they use their money for fewer clients, but that's simply the nature of their funding. I also need to point out that TTLP is grandfathered in. If TTLP was invented now, they would not be able to get funding from ESG. They are grandfathered in as long as they continue to receive money from ESG. If they ever do not receive money from ESG, they will no longer be able to apply for ESG in the future. Be aware of that. Also, there's a note on Addiction Center, and honestly, I should have written this note better because I'm not exactly sure what it meant, but someone brought up that it's difficult to compare families versus addiction. So I'm not sure exactly what they meant on that. I honestly don't remember. And no one piped in today when I was talking about that to tell me what they meant by that. So if that is an issue that you need to have clarified, please let me know, and I will try to see if we can clarify it amongst the three reviewers. So anyway, top box, salaries. Bottom box. This is everything else. Obviously, if you spend 60% on the top box, that leaves you with 40% on the bottom box, or I was really bad at math or something. Anyway, that's broken into basically Finn's homelessness prevention program, and the city will always claim an amount to cover the HMIS. That's $1720. They did make an interesting change on this. They did want to fund the Finn slightly more than they asked for, simply because they had enough they had more money than Finn asked for. But for the most part, they wanted that additional money to go into financial assistance. So the 4954, I believe, is higher than the amount of financial assistance that Finn put in their budget. So just take note of that. I have not talked to Finn yet about that as to whether they can do that. Financial assistance is actually the money that directly goes to help clients. That's the things where if they're going to do security deposits or first and last month's rent, that's where the money actually comes from. That is not salaries, that is not overhead or program supplies. That is the direct money going out to help clients. Also, please note, in no CDBG or ESG programs or even home programs does money ever directly go to clients. It helps pay for things for clients, but we can never, amongst those three programs, ever give anyone cash directly. That's simply how the programs simply do not work that way. So if anyone has any concern about that. So the contingency there says straight percentage. So basically what this means is we don't know how much we're going to get. We may get more than 162. We'll probably get less. So what happens when I get that number? I'm going to go pull out my, well, this is an Excel. I'm going to put in the percentage of money we've gotten versus the 162 and go calculate. And that'll tell us essentially their final recommendation to you guys. The only one that won't be including in that contingency is the Binghamton's HMIS, where that's always going to be 1720 unless the new agency they hire for it charges more, and then we'll pay that. So that is the COC ESG recommendations. I do not have anything to report on, because I simply do not know on the current state of homelessness per se in the city. I know that homelessness still is an issue. I couldn't tell you if it's on a rise or if it's decreasing. I do know we have lots of programs out there to help the homeless outside even our ESG funding, but there is a desperate need for that in the community. So does anyone have any questions? As he spoke dryly and in a monotone.
Anyone?
Hopefully it doesn't come in,
No, go ahead.
but you mentioned the homelessness and we
Yeah.
recognize that the situation is getting worse.
Mhm.
Are there other alternatives?
So that's actually a very, very good question. ESG is not the only money that can be used for homelessness.
Okay.
You can also use CDBG money as well for homelessness. So that is an option. Now, if you recall in the packets, TTLP, I believe, applied for both CDBG and ESG. So you can put additional CDBG money into homelessness. The only issue, though, is unless you're doing something to address homelessness, that's something like a capital project, or I'm trying to think of something else that would address homelessness, it's more than likely going to come out of the service funding. Service funds are capped in CDBG. You cannot spend more than 15% of your CDBG budget on services. So that comes to about, I want to say it was about $350,000 last year. So this, when you guys do your budgets, and I can talk about this in a minute on the next, what we're going to do next. When you talk about services, this is going to be where this committee has to make the really tough choices, because all the other ones are pretty easy to split up. Demolitions, code enforcement, streets. I mean, those generally are not argued that much. It's when you get to the service funding, that small pool of money that needs to be cut up into many things. And the mayor has changed it this year, where he's requesting that each agency be given a minimum, be given $20,000 essentially. I think he said a minimum. I don't think he said, yeah, I don't think there was a max. So before CDAC has really cut them into like small, like given like $5,000 grants here and small grants here and there, it's going to be tough. That money is going to go quick. And understand that the mayor has certain projects that he will fund fully right off the bat. I think Megan mentioned that when she came and did the presentation for the mayor's office. You weren't there yet, but I might have seen the video. And really, I'm pretty sure there's going to be probably full funding right off the bat using service money for all 3 Boys and Girls Clubs programs, Addiction Center, and are there any other service programs? I think that's it. That's going to probably shave off a good 100, 150 right there. So then that leaves you into a small bucket to start splitting amongst these agencies. So yes, homelessness can be used. It can be helped with CDBG. The one I don't like giving flavor more than I have to about some of the presenters tonight, but the one gentleman, the second one, who said the homeless need housing, and someone else mentioned something about housing too for homeless, I thought. Yes, you could use CDBG money for housing. That is not capped. Same thing with home money. Chodo projects can be focused on homelessness. We're actually going to be using some older, we got some additional, I have to remember you just started, so I got to make sure because I don't want to talk above what the other people know about, but we got some special CDBG money to address COVID. So one of the current things we're going to be doing with that is putting it probably into a First Ward Action Council housing project. And that should have at least some element of trying to get homeless individuals in there first if they can. And so that's one way of treating it. But it's a different pool of money as well. We have home ARP money, which the CDAC recall from last year. We're still working on that. One thing we're going to do with that, and this is money that's already been allocated, potentially another housing project. We're looking at 1, 2, 3 projects that we're probably going to go out to bid and allow a nonprofit agency to bid on what they're going to do to provide housing. And that can include a homelessness component. It needs to be housing for homeless or something like that. In addition to that home ARP, I'm going to be doing an RFP soon also for agencies, or actually it'll be an application for various housing agencies in the area to apply to get what's called TBRA, which means tenant-based rental assistance. And what that money will be used for is security deposits, first and last month's rent. And that's from home money. It's from a special pool of home money we got. So all of these are available. So you do have some tools there. There are capital projects. There are housing projects that may be able to help the homeless. Obviously, ESG programs directly can help up. I mean, that's the point of ESG. It's only for homeless. But you can use CDBG and home creatively to also help the homeless. And if you have any questions as to whether something will qualify or not, let me know. I can answer that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Taking up everybody's time to educate me. I want to clarify too. I shouldn't have just said homelessness. The situation in my mind is housing.
Is housing,
No matter
yes.
what situation that individual might be in. But I
Yeah.
appreciate very much the explanation.
And understand the ESG money. So homelessness prevention from FEN, the point of that is not to help people who are actually homeless, but to help people that are on the verge of homelessness. And they have to be. The requirements of this money require them to be essentially 72 hours from being on the street. So we work with 2-in-1, the coordinated entry system, so that if someone has essentially not an eviction notice, because that takes months, but let's say they have a final court order that says you must vacate within X number of days, then they're able to get help with this, then can hopefully get them into a new unit somewhere in the city and provide security deposit, first, last month's rent, that kind of thing to help them get into those new units. So that's the point of that. Mhm. Are there any other questions? I can go talk for days about grant regulations if you guys would like, but you probably don't want to. That's all I have to say.
Please, no. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Don't want to keep you. The next meeting is going to be on the 3rd of April. This is going to start the budget hearings. Do a quick thing on this. I generally get pizza from Nurchi's because it's delicious. And sometimes people bring additional things because it sometimes takes a while. This meeting is running a little over and I'll try to end it as quickly as possible. But generally these budget meetings can take a while. You have 2 budget meetings, one on the 3rd, one on the 17th. Theory, you guys could be done by the 3rd. In reality, you guys will be done by the 17th, unless some miracle happens. And I've never seen CDAC to do it in one meeting, but that's where we're at to it.
It's never a miracle.
Yeah. So
Are we
anyway.
going to have the projector up where we can see it
Yep.
all?
I'll
Okay,
set up the
good.
projector. I'll set up an Excel spreadsheet. I'll be sending you guys Excel spreadsheets. Is everybody comfortable with Excel? Yes. I know some software programs, and I hate to presume, but I also don't hate to just assume that you don't. So I can help with anyone, or if you don't know Excel, just write some numbers down and we can help you figure it out. But I'll send that Excel spreadsheet out and you guys can start playing it. Hopefully I hear our final numbers pretty soon.
When you say a while for the next meeting, what's a while? Because I work 3rd shift. We're not going to be here till like 10 o'clock at night, are we?
No, generally not
Okay.
10. I mean, probably right about now would be sometime
Oh,
like
no,
8-ish,
that's
8-ish, 8:30 for one meeting.
That way I
Usually you
know to
can
bring
tell
the
if you're going to need
workflows
another
here
one.
and then go
Usually
to
it's one of
work.
those things where we're ending about 8 and then we're sitting here eating pizza and gabbing till about 8:30.
that's fine. I could do that.
And everybody can bring additional food if they want as well. I'm gonna go.
I will. I like to eat.
I'm bringing wings, by the way.
Hot or mild or barbecue?
I'm not making them. It's the day after election day. I am not making wings. All right, with that, it's time to take our final attendance and a vote for adjournment. So starting over with Deborah. Oh, sorry. go
Deborah
ahead.
Hogan, mayoral appointee, but just want to say
Hold on.
kudos to Stephen and Marion. I believe will agree that this was one of our best public hearings with the most attendees.
Yeah,
So whatever you did, Steve, to get the word out and within the organizations, great job. Thank
it
you.
was fantastic. Mhm. All right, Deborah, go.
Deborah Hogan, mayoral appointee.
Thank you.
John Brunza, mayoral appointee.
Marianne Callahan, mayoral appointee.
Eileen Hughes, second district.
On Austin, sixth district.
Jordan Trice, 5th District.
Justin McGregor, 7th District and Chair. Can we have a motion to adjourn? Deborah?
Motion.
Second?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you.